Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Universe's Greatest Podcast, Culture Bucket. This is a podcast where two best friends talk all things popular culture for a couple of hours, usually with a focus of some sort. In the second half, this week the focus is Jack White, who's released two solo studio albums this year, Fear of the Dawn and Entering Heaven Alive. So we will be talking about our feelings on those albums, as well as our feelings generally about Jack White and his illustrious career. I am your host, George, and you can't escape without also hearing from your other host, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. What introduction? Do you want people to escape me?
No, that's what I mean. They can't escape without doing that first.
How you doing, George, today?
Good. It's the end of the summer. Autumn is on the way. The nights are drawing in a little bit, and the real world work is going to get quite hectic again soon. So, yeah, it's that sort of slightly melancholy time of the year where you have to kind of return to real life a bit. Some of us do. So,
is that a jab?
No.
Is that a subtle jab? Because I'm not going to work in a school anymore.
No, not at all.
No.
Fine. How are you?
I'm feeling great, actually. Well, I've got a temperature. I saw you a couple of weeks ago. You came to visit me in Italy, finally, which was
first time since we started this podcast we actually saw each other.
Which was very nice.
Yes.
But I think I'm sick from it.
Still, from my visit?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was pretty intense. There were a lot of people here.
That is true. It was, yeah. If you've not seen many people for like 2 years and then suddenly you've got a whole load of new bacteria to deal with.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And George has with his little jab, I'm not going back to school in September, so I'm quite excited about my new prospects in life.
Me too.
Yeah. Are you excited for me or are you excited for you?
I'm excited for you. I'm not excited for me.
I'm sorry. You get there.
One day.
One day. But yeah, I'm very, very happy. Also, because I'm going to see you again in the flesh in a couple of weeks after 3 years. I'm going to go back to the UK. So that's very exciting. I'm very excited about that. I've already have like a food order.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
I hope you bring in your golden ingots with you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, oh no, because everybody in Italy came here, and a meal is like a nice meal is like maximum €30, and it's not going to be the same, is it, in England?
No, that'll get you in the door, maybe.
What do you think the best food you had here was when you came over?
The best food I had while I was there, the first thing that immediately jumped into my mind was the cutlet, bolognese cutlet.
Cotoletta bolognese.
Yes, with the cream sauce and the truffles and stuff, and it's like a ham and pork breadcrumbed cheese nightmare. It was very good.
It is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm from the city of the pig. There's a lot of meat eating pig. So in that cotoletta la bolognese is like pork and ham and cheese and cream.
Yeah. That was good. I feel like there was something I had. Oh, I had a steak, didn't I? I had a steak one day.
Yeah.
With potatoes that was cooked perfectly. And I had big chunks of sort of kosher salt on it. That was lovely stuff. Yeah, no. Oh, good food in Italy. That's not a new observation, but
No. But I'm excited to come over and eat curries, have a Sunday roast, have some pho.
what?
Pho?
Oh,
Like
pho.
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 Yeah,
the
that's one thing that's
Vietnamese.
missing in Italy. Like in Italy, definitely ethnic food. Well, Bologna, where I live, it's just like nice foreign food that's missing, which I really,
Yeah.
really miss.
That's fair. No, I mean England's very good at that because
Oh,
our own food is we do roast dinners and stuff like that
yeah,
pretty
Sunday
well. But
roast, full English breakfast.
I think we like the variety of having
Yeah.
curry, and it's probably a remnant of the empire that we used to have once upon a time.
Empire. The empire
wasn't-
strikes back.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't do that. Please do go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and anywhere else you can rate and review podcasts and give us a rating on there. Write a 5-star review if you can and write something down. The more of those we get, the more chances are of other people finding the podcast and listening to it, which is something we'd really like to do. We'd like to expand a little bit and have a bigger listener base and get more contact from you. We'd love to have more of a discussion and communication with our listeners, so please do get in touch with us as well. The links to all the places you can do that are in the show notes for this and every episode. They've got an email address, Instagram, etc., etc. It's all there, so please do let us know what you think, and go and do those reviews and ratings on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and everywhere else. Thank you so much. We really, really, really appreciate it.
This is Culture Catch-Up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch-Up time.
Okay, so let's get into today's episode, shall we?
Yes,
Time
of
to
course.
discuss popular culture.
Yes.
Sorry, there's a National lyric that I went to see the National. It's not. I know it's not my turn yet, but I went to see the National, my favourite band, last week, live in concert in London's Victoria Park at All Points East Festival. They were headlining, and afterwards I read a review of the gig that was written. I won't quote from it directly because it's not very. It was quite a badly written review, but it made me laugh because they've got one song called Rylan that they sang, and the review said they even sang their song Rylan, which includes the lyric "Don't you want to be popular culture?" And it's such an odd, specific thing to pull out and pop in a review that line's in there. But every time I say popular culture now, that line from that song is in my head. Do you want to be popular culture, Alex?
All the time.
Good.
Not really, actually. Sounds really. Do you want to be part of? Well, maybe yeah.
To be part of it, probably quite intense.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about it instead. So, what have you been doing other than meeting people?
Yeah, so I've been meeting people, catching up after 2.5 years of not seeing all my friends, and I watched a movie that you've already talked about on the podcast, but I would like to talk about it because it was pretty insane, and it's the latest Nicolas Cage movie, the 2022, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, nice, good. What did you think of that?
Oh, insane. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's really like is this film about like Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage that is not really a great person, and the only thing he wants to do is be popular, but in his later career, because he's already had a great career and he's kind of not making any money, and so to make a little bit of money, he accepts an offer of $1 million to go to this birthday party. And then everything just goes a little bit crazy because, the guy in the birthday party is part of, is he not part of like a criminal gang? And I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I loved the fact that Nicolas Cage kind of took the piss out of himself. I loved the beginning of the film when there are these two kids getting stoned and then watching a Nicolas Cage film. And throughout the film, there are Nicolas Cage kind of like snippets of films and kind of showing his what he's done, and trying to figure out who Nicolas Cage was, and there's Tiffany Haddish, and I really love the scene where Tiffany Haddish and another actor, which is it Ike Barinholtz, and they're like CIA agents. And she goes, Nicolas Cage from Moonstruck, and he goes, no, meet Nicolas Cage from Face Off. It's like his career has been so incredibly varied that like people remember him from different things, and I really laughed. Like, it's one of probably the best comedies I've seen in recent times.
It's a really, really funny movie.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it works because of the chemistry between him and Pedro Pascal, like the scenes.
I love Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
because
he's great.
What was that film, the Bubble that we watched?
Oh yeah.
Like he was not. I didn't really like him there.
No,
and I
he was
haven't
doing
really seen
something
him
weird in
much. But in this film, he is lovable. He's lovely. Loves Nicolas Cage, and he's just incredible. I really liked them as a couple, and everybody else is kind of like good. And I love seeing Sharon Horgan in a film, so I really enjoyed the kind of everything. But there were some really laugh out loud moments, which I really appreciate now, because I haven't had a comedy where I really enjoyed. I had a really like belly laugh.
There's a really good bit. It was spoiled in the trailers, but there's a really, really good bit where they're trying to climb over a wall and he can't help him over.
Yeah, I know it was spoiled, but it was so funny. She's like, "Let me go," and they're like, "No," and he's
I'll
trying
never forget you.
And Nick Cage is trying to like lift this guy up, and then he just lets him go, and then he goes around the wall. It's so good.
And when they're arguing about whether they should swap shoes or not, who has the more appropriate shoes for running and things.
Oh my god, yeah, because they take mushrooms. Did they not take mushrooms or something?
There's
or
a bit
LSD?
where they take mushrooms, and there's a great bit where they have to escape. They think they have to escape in a car, and Pedro Pascal's like, "You should drive," and he's like, "You're a great driver." And he's like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "You did all your own driving for Gone in 60 Seconds. I read about it on the internet, so I watched the behind the scenes feature." And then Nicolas Cage is like, "Oh yeah, I did do that. Okay," and then crashes the car immediately.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such a good film. I'm glad I watched it. I wasn't sure because it hasn't had great reviews.
Yeah, it's had some good reviews, but it's definitely had its detractors, including my mum, who hated it.
What? Why?
I don't know. She watched it, the whole thing, with a scowl on her face, and I was like, "It's just not my kind of film." I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't.
A scowl.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, really, I really enjoyed the film. And then I watched a documentary, which also when you came over, I told you that you should watch.
Oh yes, I haven't watched it yet.
It's like it's like a documentary, but it's now they're called TV miniseries. They're not documentaries anymore, like because they put these documentaries in episodes. But is Trainwreck, Woodstock 99. And it's a Netflix documentary about how Woodstock 99 just descended into absolute shambles. And really interesting documentary because so I knew about Woodstock 99 because I used to listen to my mum's Woodstock 69 vinyls.
Yeah.
And so when Woodstock 99 came out, I was about 14 years old. I bought the double CD. And it was really weird because it's music that I really enjoyed because in Woodstock 99, Limp Bizkit played, Korn played, Red Hot Chili Peppers, like really kind of rocky bands. And it was I liked them, but it was weird to listen to them. And then I didn't know anything about the riots and how it just descended into the absolute mayhem.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because the people that speak about this documentary talk about Woodstock as like the best festival in the world, blah blah blah, and then you go, well, Glastonbury has been going on for years and it works and it's got that amount of people in it. Like don't think that Woodstock is just the only festival that was meant for peace and stuff. There was one that worked and they tried another two and both of them didn't work, and it's just how people that are trying to make money out of young kids paid the consequences of their actions, because these kids paid a load of money for places that couldn't bring drinks, they couldn't bring food. It was on a air base, so that it was all concrete. Can you imagine the heat and concrete? There was not a tree.
Wait, where were they camping though? Were they camping?
Well, there was some, yeah, but there were some green bits, but it was mainly like this old airfield like base, because it was cheap and big.
Wow.
And it's all about how they were trying to like cut costs, and by the end of the festival, the drinking water was not water anymore. And so people went mental.
Lemonade? Was it lemonade?
Yeah, it was lemonade.
Oh no.
It was
good.
brown lemonade. And what annoyed me the most is that the people that are behind it, the main guys, which were this horrible guy, John Scher, who said, because there was also like lots of like sexual assaults in Woodstock, and the comments that he does are incredibly horrendous and out of touch with real life. And Michael Lang, who was the co-founder of the first Woodstock, he's just this kind of like hippie guy that goes, oh, we didn't know, but it's like, but you made money, you made profit out of this, and you let kids drink their own poo, like, and sell. Oh, it was horrendous. Like, I don't understand how a festival like that could have gone forward, and the people that sold the festival had not been accountable for the crap they did.
Bad.
Yeah, bad festival. And what annoyed me, what I said before, what annoyed me is just like, there's so many festivals in England that are so successful and they work, and there's so many festivals in America they work. Burning Man is an incredible festival. There are never riots, and that's in a desert.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can see when you're trying to make money where it goes, and when you try to make a festival to keep people connected and together, how it goes.
Yeah.
So, and it was just all about profit. And what I didn't realize is just Glastonbury doesn't have any kind of like advertising places.
Yeah,
and then you go to a festival like Reading Festival, where it's like carling and this and that, and it's just like you can see the difference of the festivals.
Yeah, it sounded like it was particularly bad this year there in Reading. There was fires and all sorts of things. Which there's been fires before, but I don't remember hearing about there being fires for a couple of years. I mean, obviously,
I thought it was pretty
before COVID. I thought it calmed down, but
but instead people went mental.
50 people were ejected or something on Sunday night from that.
50 people were what?
Ejected.
Oh my god!
By the police. Bad times.
But yeah, it's a really good documentary, and a lot of people are involved in it, and like people that's worked for MTV, and Michael Lang, just before he died, he's in the documentary, and it's amazing how people didn't feel for example, for this John Scher guy, it was Limp Bizkit's fault that there were riots. It's like, okay.
Fred Durst does have a lot to answer for, to be fair.
Yeah, Fred Durst. But yeah, really, really interesting documentary.
The festival I went to last week was sponsored by Luno, which is a cryptocurrency trading platform. So that was nice.
This cryptocurrency stuff is crazy. It's everywhere now. I don't understand it, and I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't understand it or care about it either, so let's not go on about it too much. But it was weird to see adverts for cryptocurrency all over the place like it was a normal thing.
Yeah.
And it's just odd to have, I don't know, ordinary people are supposed to be this invested and interested in what's basically just financial trading.
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to watch movies about Nicolas Cage taking acid and stuff.
I know. That's what I want to do in my life. I don't want to invest money.
Yeah. Bizarre. So what else have you done? You've done a Woodstock documentary. And
yes,
Nicolas Cage.
and then the new season of Never Have I Ever, season 3 has come out on Netflix. I've spoken about it I've spoken about it. I
I've
can't speak.
spoken about it.
I've spoken about it before, and it's a series created by Mindy Kaling and Lang Fisher, and it's about the love and trials of Devi Vishwakumar and her love life, her friendships, while she goes and while she tries to navigate through life, having lost a parent. Season 3, I've binged it. Terrible. I've watched it in 2 days. There are 10
Wow.
episodes I've watched in 2 days. It's really like a nice coming of age TV series. You know, maybe it's not necessarily for a 36-year-old, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy watching it. And season 3 is really good. There's a lot of like growth in the characters. They have changed, they've matured. Devi finally, she kind of gets more comfortable in herself, and she deals better with the death of her father. Other characters become better, and it's a really good series if you like to watch something mellow and not too just nice, and it's just a good coming of age comedy. And I'm amazed because one of our friends, Dan, he was like, "Oh my God, I watch it now." I was like, "What?" After me speaking about it. And good on you, Dan. And if anybody wants to watch it because it's 29 minutes each episode, and you're gonna have a great time. And it's narrated by John McEnroe. How amazing is that?
That's mad.
Yeah, and one episode though is narrated by Andy Samberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And last thing, and then I'll let you have the reins of the speaking. An album recommendation, the new Lizzo album, Special, released this year, this July. I love this album. I'm not massive. I like Lizzo as a person. I like Lizzo as an artist. I think she's a great performer, but I never really got into her albums. And I really like this album. It's really kind of like poppy but dancey, and it's entertaining. I love what she's trying to say. And Lizzo fans that I know don't enjoy this album as much, so maybe I don't know, maybe it's just a complete shift for her. But I really, really, really like this album, and I think is a good new era for Lizzo. And I like the dance stuff, like Beyonce. We're getting dancey, and I enjoy that. So I think it's a really good album.
She is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we listened to it when you were here. What did you think about it?
I don't think I'm going to listen to it lots and lots and lots, but it's definitely fun, you know, good pop music. But I don't know quite. None of it's really, really grabbed me yet. Like, I have not found any of the songs sticking in my head at all in the way that pop music that I go back to does. But I can't fault it particularly. It's good. And I watched her she did a performance at the VMAs the other day that was really well produced, and she was sort of interacting with this giant screen behind her and stuff, and it was great, really good, like genuinely really good. And she seems like an incredible person. And she wore this dress going in to the VMAs. It was like an enormous, did you see it?
No,
I think it was going to the VMAs. It was like, I just saw a reel or something on Instagram of it, but like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it sounds offensive, but it's not. But it's like an enormous black bin bag. Did you see?
Amazing,
you seen it? And it's just sort of like it's sort
looks
of
like a mountain,
full of air. So it's like floating around her.
Wow,
it's bonkers, and she's got these enormous cool boots on that you can see underneath it when it kind of floats up. She's wild. She's good for her.
Yeah, I really like her as a person. I watched her in Hot Ones.
Oh yeah.
And first of all, the vegan nuggets. I was very happy about that. and she ate them all, which was really good. Because one thing that I've got about the hot ones now, I feel like they have a bite of a chicken wing. It's like, no, eat the chicken wing. You're wasting so much chicken.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy that she ate it all. It was vegan, and she's so like amazing and humble and lovely, and I think she's great. And maybe that's why I like this album more, because maybe I'm getting to know her better as an artist and as a, but yeah, I might go back to her old albums and see if I can get into them, because there's some bangers in the old albums. There's some really good
she's done some individual songs that I really, really like.
Yeah, it's just like I've never been able to get into an album until this one special.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a song that I love in this album called "I Love You, Bitch," and it's like, oh my god. Yeah, it's so good.
Cool. All right. Is that all your culture catch-up?
That is all my culture catch-up.
Lovely stuff. Well, I've got a few movies that I've watched over the summer to talk about, and then a couple of TV shows, and that's me for this. I'll start off with Bullet Train.
Yeah.
2022 action comedy film directed by David Leitch, off of Deadpool 2 and other things. Starring Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Joey King, Andrew Koji, Hiroyuki Sanada, Sandra Bullock, Bad Bunny, Michael Shannon. There's a lot of people in the movie. Based on a novel by Kotaro Isaka called Maria Beetle from 2010. I didn't know until after I watched the movie that there was some pre-release controversy around the accused whitewashing of the film, because the novel is, the novel is set in Japan on a Shinkansen bullet train, and the movie is also set in Japan on a Shinkansen bullet train, but this time the majority of the cast is Western actors, etc., which I think is, a fair criticism, removed somewhat because the author of the novel has kind of given it his blessing and said that he doesn't care. So if that's his view, then fine. And it's sort of an easy criticism because you can critique the movie for that without actually watching the movie or assessing the movie on its own merits, kind of thing. So I did watch the movie, and I assessed the movie on its own merits. I saw it on my birthday because it was the only sort of new movie out on my birthday. It was my big birthday treat movie. I went to the cinema all excited to watch it, and I started watching it, and it got to the point where I felt like I absolutely couldn't bear to watch a second more of it, and I checked my watch, and it had only been on for half an hour, and there was an hour and a half left to go.
That's crazy.
It's one of the most disappointingly awful films I've seen in quite some time. When I came out of it, I felt that it was a total wannabe Tarantino riff. Like when Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction came out in the 90s, this wave of films followed them that wanted to be Quentin Tarantino movies, but, nobody can really write dialogue the way he can. If you try to write Quentin Tarantino-esque dialogue, it will inevitably come off as irritating, because equally, as well as not being able to write the dialogue as well, the director won't be able to direct the actors to deliver it well enough to make it work, because it's quite difficult. This very sort of meta, self-referential, quick-witted, people talking in a way that no one in real life talks, because no one in real life can think that quickly and come up with witty comebacks that fast. And to make it feel believable, you've got to really, the whole movie has to take on a style that, not many people can pull off. But then since seeing it, I've read and seen more kind of criticism, conversation around the movie, and people have also pointed out that it's a real Guy Ritchie knockoff. And Guy Ritchie really sort of took the Quentin Tarantino template and put it in England, and that's kind of his vibe. And it definitely has feelings of Guy Ritchie, especially because the characters of Tangerine and Lemon, two brothers who are hitmen, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. And that's a good source of humour, that there's a black man and a white man and they're somehow twins. Let's make jokes about that one. They speak in mock Cockney accents. Now, Aaron Taylor-Johnson is English anyway, but has an annoying accent. Brian Tyree Henry, I don't know why they made him speak in a terrible English accent throughout the entire movie. And his character has an obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine, just talks about Thomas the Tank Engine the entire film. Has this idea that every single person you meet can be kind of categorized as one of the characters from Thomas the Tank Engine. Very irritating character trait that just doesn't stop. And yeah, Brad Pitt just sort of sleeps his way through the movie, interacting with these various assassins played by these different recognisable faces. Everyone talks and interacts in this incredibly irritating, self-important, like kind of, you know, you can tell they think they're being really funny and witty when they're not. Way it's full of these flashbacks to different events in the way that like Pulp Fiction is like non-linear storytelling, so let's do that. But in this film, we get like a bit where somebody throws a water bottle at somebody, and then we get a flashback to how the water bottle ended up on that place in the train, showing it from being brought in a vending machine all the way to getting into the... Didn't like it. Hated it. Such a disappointing film. Don't criticise it for whitewashing the cast.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that they've done. The movie itself is a bad movie. Like, it's not an enjoyable film to watch. That's why you should criticise it, because they've made a bad film. Okay.
It hasn't had bad, like, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is quite high.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and even on IMDb, like, it's got the same score as the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So crazy.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah. It's a shame because it looks so good. Like, the trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, it looked really fun. I was really excited to watch it, but no, I really, really didn't care for it at all. But also, on my birthday, I went home and watched a film that was only released to streaming. In America, it was released on Hulu. In the UK, it was put on Star, the Disney Plus brand where Fox content is placed. And it is the latest film in the Predator franchise, Prey. An ultra prequel, I guess you could describe it as. It's based not in the 1980s like the original Predator, but in 1719 on the northern Great Plains. It follows a Comanche warrior played by Amber Midthunder, who is desperate to prove that she can be a hunter because her tribe doesn't really see her as a hunter, and her and her lovely, wonderful, perfect dog find themselves having to go up against an alien hunter from another world, and it takes all of her resources and skill to combat this threat, and it involves various other factions. I think there's the French, or is it French fur traders end up getting involved. Other members of her tribe end up getting involved, but ultimately it comes down to a showdown between her and the Predator. The Predator franchise and the Alien franchise are often sort of placed together, especially because there's the Alien versus Predator movies. But I've always preferred the Alien films. I think Alien is one of the greatest movies ever made, and Aliens is also, incredible, and then the rest of the movies are all watchable. Whereas the Predator franchise, I've always sort of, like, even that original movie that people adore with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Have you seen that, Alex?
Yes. A long time ago, though, on TV in the 90s.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't...
A lot of people call that like a perfect film. I like it, but I definitely find points in it where I get a bit bored, and it's a lot of kind of repeated things over and over again of like the Predator just attacking people and them dying. The second Predator movie is crazy, and Danny Glover's in it, and it's really weird, but again, plenty of flaws. And then it's downhill from there. Predators, the one that came out in 2010 with Adrian Brody, is awful. And then they made a film called The Predator a few years ago, which is both awful and offensive, so that's good. But Prey is amazing. I absolutely loved it. In my opinion, it is by some distance the best Predator movie, despite not having Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. It's got Amber Midthunder, who's incredible. I thought she was so good in this film. I loved watching her. Hopefully she'll become, quite a big star off the back of this film, because she's so good in it. Watching her sort of understand and learn how this predator works, and it's not quite the same as the predators you've seen in other movies. It's maybe slightly more technologically backwards, I guess, because it is set a couple of 100 years before the original movie, and maybe there's other reasons in the law, I'm not sure, but it doesn't have quite the level of technical ability that the original Predators does, though it can still make itself invisible and things. But yeah, watching Amber Midthunder's character, who is called Naru, learn how to combat this predator and slowly overcome it is joyous. And it's not too long. It's a good tight 100 minutes with credits, and I'd recommend anyone go and watch it, because action movies fronted by female actors don't come along too often, particularly in big franchises like this. And she's done just a spectacular job. And the director, Dan Trachtenberg, off of 10 Cloverfield Lane and other movies, has also absolutely smashed it out of the park. And it's stunning to me that this movie didn't get released in cinemas yet. Bullet Train did. I do not understand it.
Well, it's the cast and the production companies behind it,
Yeah, I guess. Just bizarre. Anyway, that's Prey. I'd recommend that to anyone. Then I went to see the movie Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Exciting times.
Very exciting times. This is the new Jordan Peele movie.
Yes.
Jordan Peele, off of making Get Out, a movie that I think Alex would agree is a modern masterpiece.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Us. Have you seen Us?
No, I haven't yet. It's on Netflix or somewhere. I don't know if I should
think
watch
at this
it.
point it'll be. Oh, you should definitely watch it. It's not that scary,
Okay.
and it's good. I liked Us. It doesn't work quite as well as Get Out, but it's good. This is his third movie. Once again, it's an original idea that he's come up with. He's written it, he's directed it, he's produced it. It's his vision entirely. It stars Daniel Kaluuya as OJ, a ranch owner who trains horses to be used in Hollywood film productions, basically, and Keke Palmer as M, who is his sister, along with Stephen Yeun, who people know from The Walking Dead, as a character called Jupe, who was a child actor star and now runs a sort of theme park, cowboy-themed theme park next to the ranch that Daniel Kaluuya's OJ runs. And a few other characters. Brandon Perea plays an electronics technician called Angel. I've not really seen him in anything else before, but he's quite good in this, actually. He's really fun. Michael Wincott plays a cinematographer called Antlers Holst. He's got a great voice. And there's a few other people. Keith David turns up for a hot minute as OJ and M's father. I wish he was in the movie more, because he's wonderful, but he's not. And it follows events on the ranch. Let's see. It follows events on the ranch as the movie opens with a tragic freak accident occurs, and leaves OJ and Emerald kind of adrift a little bit with the business, not sure how to run it, or not sure how to run it successfully, at least for OJ. And they start to experience unusual events occurring around the ranch, and they begin to believe that they may be experiencing UFO sightings, flying saucer sightings. That's enough to say regarding the plot without spoiling anything really past there. But it's playing around in the world of UFO movies. It's had good reviews. It's probably the least well reviewed of his 3 films so far, but it's
what? Best reviewed?
Worst.
Worst reviews. Sorry.
But it's still got, it's got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's generally been quite well received. People have liked it. Audiences have enjoyed it as well. It's very well made and well acted. But unfortunately, I sat and watched it, and with each kind of plot revelation that came up, I found myself more and more distanced from what the movie was trying to do. and I ended up coming out of it having really not enjoyed it, which is so disappointing because this was maybe my most anticipated movie of if not the year, definitely the summer. You know, this movie didn't get released in the UK at the same time as in America. We had to wait a few more weeks for it. And I was really, really frustrated because I was like desperate to stay free from spoilers and stuff, because with a Jordan Peele movie, you want to know as little as possible going in. Yeah. So I did keep myself spoiler free, and I don't want to ruin that experience for anyone else that hasn't got around to seeing it yet, so I won't spoil it. But suffice to say, I just felt like there's a lot of stuff in this movie where I've seen reviews being like, oh my God, it doesn't spoon feed the audience. It lets people work out what's going on, and it gives you just enough to go on. Which I usually like, but in this movie, I felt like it just didn't. To me, it didn't feel like he was intentionally leaving stuff for the audience to work out. To me, it felt like he just wasn't telling the story very well, and it wasn't clear. Like things would happen, and you'd have to really be like, "Wait, is this because of?" Right, I think I get why this is, and it just sort of, and ultimately, when kind of what the film is about reveals itself, I just was bored. I was like, "Oh, is that it? Is that the big revelation?" And it was, and I was bored of. And then Stephen Yeun's character, there's a subplot involving his character that kind of runs throughout the movie, that if you kind of follow it and track it, does a lot to explain the theming and message of the movie. So I think Jordan Peele's starting to get annoyed that people assume all his movies will have a message in them, because, you know, Get Out was about racism, and or it has similar kind of messages about society in it. But then I think he's still making movies that have these messages in them. And I think the message that Nope is giving is one to do with spectacle and the human need to consume and watch spectacle, and maybe judging us for that. And my view is a bit like, well, you've made a Hollywood blockbuster that we're all going to go to the cinema and watch. Why are you telling us we're bad people for liking the thing you do? Is kind of, and maybe I've misinterpreted it at some point, but that's how
spectacle, it would not be spectacle as, you know, something is happening, and instead of helping, I'm going to take a video of it, and that's a spectacle, and we're all going to enjoy this thing that we're watching. That
you could argue that, but then the movie places itself pretty firmly within the world of Hollywood, because they're running a ranch to train horses for the cinema. And I don't want to go into it too much, but the subplot involving Stephen Yeun's character kind of really explicitly links it to the idea of film and TV and stuff. And it doesn't, it didn't feel too much to be like not helping. It just felt sort of like there's no ability for you to help the thing. Anyway, I won't talk about it too much longer because I can't talk about spoiling it. But I'd love to hear from anyone who has watched it, what they thought of it. If they disagree with me, please do get in touch, because I know that people have liked it and enjoyed it, but it just wasn't for me. Anyway, I'll go a bit quicker now because I've got a few smaller movies to kind of go through. I watched Orphan First Kill, the prequel to Orphan, which we watched a trailer for a few weeks ago. Yeah. Oh my God.
Was it good?
It's so good. The original Orphan is like a decade old now. Spoilers are kind of out the window for it. It's a movie about a family who adopt an orphan, and it turns out she's not an orphan. She's a 30-year-old woman who's got a condition where she doesn't grow, and she's also psychotic. This movie takes place before Orphan, but uses the same actress, Isabel Thurman, to play the orphan, and she's now no longer herself young. She's in her 20s, but they still managed to make her look like a young girl. It's the artistry behind the film is pretty well done. Like, there's shots where you can tell they're kind of fudging things to make her look like she's a kid, but it's well done. But it's a bit like I started watching it being like, well, this is fun and enjoyable, but it's kind of the same. I don't see how it's not just going to be the same plot as the original movie. And then much earlier than you expect, a pretty incredible twist comes along. And throws you off your feet, and it's one of those. It's not. I mean, this movie isn't as good as Hereditary, but it's a similar feeling to Hereditary, where a movie, you think you know what a movie is, you think you know what it's doing with you, and then something happens quite early on that just makes you go, oh, well, now I just don't know what this is anymore, and that's quite an exciting feeling to be like, well, I don't know where this is going now, and I thought I did, and let's explore this direction and see what happens, and that was really enjoyable. It maybe then ultimately plays out in quite a sort of horror cliche way, but the fact that it kind of does that thing that kind of makes you doubt yourself for a few minutes is cool. I really enjoyed Orphan First Kill. It should be relatively accessible. It's on Paramount Plus streaming, I think, in a lot of places. But it got a theatrical release in the UK, which I was glad it did, because it was really good. I'd recommend people watch Orphan First Kill. I also watched a much smaller movie called The Feast, which is a 2022 movie set in Wales, and I didn't realise until it began that it was filmed entirely in Welsh, which was cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's subtitled. It's in Welsh, but it's a really good film. I really enjoyed this one. That people should watch it. It follows a family who are having a dinner party. The husband is a politician, an MP in Wales, and he's having some business partners over for dinner to discuss some business proposals with local kind of landowners and stuff. And the usual hired help that comes in to help do dinner parties can't attend, so the wife hires in a new girl to come in, who arrives and is very quiet, and over the course of the movie she is revealed to not be quite who you think she is. Ooh. And events sort of spiral out of control in quite good folk horror type ways, which I always enjoy, a bit of folk horror, and it kind of examines a lot to do with nature and the land, and what happens when man, like the dwarves in Moria, digs too deep and too greedily and discovers things under the ground that maybe should be best left unbothered.
Is it scary?
It is scary in parts. It's quite gory in parts. It's got some really quite unpleasant scenes of like necrotic flesh, like flesh necrotizing and dying, and things. It is a bit of a grim journey at times, but it's also got some really beautiful imagery. It's got some really, really gorgeous like nature imagery and some really kind of beautiful imagery of quite odd things turning up in places they shouldn't be and stuff like that. And yeah, it's not the most terrifying movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely got some scenes where you kind of grip the arms of your chair for a moment. It was good. Last film I'm going to talk about is the 2022 movie Beast, starring Idris Elba. Do you know about this film?
No.
This was an enjoyable one. I liked this film. I'll tell you that straight off the bat. Idris Elba and his two daughters are visiting a friend in Africa who lives on a kind of a what do you call it? A safari area, but one that's not really open to the public, one that's more used for preservation, like a preservation zone.
Okay.
And his friend is played by Sharlto Copley, who was in District 9. He's a South African actor who's popped up in various things over the years. Always quite enjoyable. He is an enforcer for the preservation zone, so ensures that poachers and things don't enter and mess around with the wildlife in there. And he was childhood friends with Idris Elba's wife, who has passed away recently, so Idris Elba's taken his children there to kind of get some time in the landscape that his wife grew up in, because he met his wife in Africa. His wife was African. So they're kind of in the area where her village was in, that she grew up in. The movie opens with a sort of prologue scene of some poachers killing an entire pride of lions, but one lion escapes and starts to fight back, and obviously has now decided that humans are the enemy, which is true for poachers. They're awful. Yeah. And the movie then proceeds. Sharlto Copley takes Idris Elba and his two children out in a jeep to go and see some of the wildlife. They come across a village quite quickly that has been decimated. Everyone in the village has been killed. And Sharlto Copley's like, this looks like a lion attack, but lions don't do this. I don't understand. And then the lion arrives, and the movie very quickly sort of becomes Jaws, but with a lion is basically the thing, or Idris Elba versus a lion. As this lion that's been driven completely feral and determined to kill any humans it comes across, proceeds to desperately try to murder Idris Elba and his family. And the movie does a lot of things to kind of set up this scenario in a way where you can root for Idris Elba, but also understand why the lion is sort of been driven to behave the way it's behaving and not appear as animal cruelty, because you've got to tread quite a thin line when you've got humans entering the African wildlife and then fighting a lion, because it could come across as pretty unpleasant, really. But it doesn't, because of the way they set it up with the poachers, etc. And, you can see who the real bad guys are, and the lion is sympathetic and, doesn't... It works, basically, is my point. And I'm sure no actual lions were harmed in the making of the film. It's really fun. It's like 90 minutes long. It's got some really good tense scenes of this family being sort of terrorised by this giant, terrifying creature, that you can really sense it. The power of this animal. If it's a lot of CGI, then they've done a really, really good job. If it's a lot of an actual lion, then equally they've done a really, really good job, because it's scary. It's scary stuff. And it makes really good use of films like this. Obviously, if Idris Elba actually had a fight with a lion, he'd very quickly get killed. So you've got to find a way. They're hiding in the car, then they're hiding underneath the car. They manage to tranquilize it so it's tired for a while, and they escape for a bit, and it follows after them. There's a lot of like ebbs and flows to the film and stuff, and I think the pacing of it really works, and you kind of... They don't do loads of character work, but they do enough up top to kind of get you invested in the characters and want them to stay alive. And the performances by all the actors is enjoyable. And yeah, I'd recommend people go and watch Beast. And I'm sure it'll be on streaming fairly soon and easy enough to watch. And yeah, go for it. Okay, a couple of TV shows to talk about. First of all, The Rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
Did I talk about this already a few weeks ago? I might have.
Yeah, because you told us your...
the attempt to watch it.
The attempt to watch it.
So I watched
trials and tribulations.
I watched 3 episodes with the method I finally came up with, and then it finally got released on now the streaming service in the UK. So I've watched the entire series now, 6 episodes long. And as I told you last time, the setup is that Nathan Fielder from Nathan View helps people to prepare for big moments in their lives by rehearsing them over and over again, using the huge budget HBO has given them to create these rehearsals, which are incredibly detailed and incredibly realistic and lifelike. The series itself doesn't go in the direction you expect. You kind of, having watched Nathan View in particular, you expect each episode to be a new rehearsal. But by the midpoint of the series, you see that he's got hung up on this one rehearsal with this woman, Angela, where she's attempting to rehearse what it'd be like to raise a child by living in a house in Oregon, I think it is, with a child actor who ages, I think, 3 years every month or something. So, like, to speed up, to get from... No, it's quicker than that even, because I think it's to get from, like, newborn baby to 18 years old in 3 months is the idea. So there's these quite funny scenes of them swapping out child actors, and they've got a big digital clock on the wall, because obviously child actors can only work so many hours a day. And it sort of ends up really focusing in on this rehearsal. Nathan lets himself get involved in the rehearsal in a way that strictly in a scientific sense he probably shouldn't do, and it really starts to explore the character of Nathan and the line where reality and fiction becomes more and more blurred as the series goes on. And it's very, very funny. It's very, very cringy at times. And then ultimately the final episode almost had me in tears at various points, because it gets to a really unexpectedly emotionally real place. As certain participants in the rehearsal start to struggle to separate the reality of the rehearsal from the reality of their own lives. And it kind of becomes incredibly kind of touching and heartfelt and like morally dubious at times. You kind of like, should he have done this at all? Is this right to do this? And it's kind of incredible. I've seen people calling it a masterpiece online, and I don't know. I need to watch the series again, I think, to decide. But it is something everyone should give a try to, I think. But your ability
Is it only 3 episodes?
No, 6 in total. So I watched 3. I watched 3 of them in an annoying streaming way.
Yeah.
And I watched the final 3 of them in a much easier way. And hopefully it's widely available. If you're in the UK, it's on now until the end of October, at which point it will probably vanish again for a while. In America, it's on HBO Max and various other places. But yeah, I had a really good time with the rehearsal. Next up, there's only been a handful of episodes out for these 2, so I'll just give initial first impressions. And I don't know if you've watched any of it, but She-Hulk has started on Disney+.
No, I haven't, because I forgot to say that I binged Better Call Saul as well, so yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So there's only been 2 episodes out so far of She-Hulk. It stars Tatiana Maslany, who's an amazing actress, as Jennifer Walters, a.k.a. She-Hulk. Episode 1 does all of the origin story stuff of getting you up to speed with how she became She-Hulk, and there's a lot of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk in that episode, which is really good.
Okay, nice.
The second episode starts to explore what the show itself is actually going to be. You know, it's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law is the full title, and she's hired by a agency to run their superhuman law division, and the first case she is given is the parole of the Abomination, who is the character that Tim Roth plays, and she's got a great line where she's like, I can't do this case, I can't take this case as a conflict of interest. He tried to kill my cousin Bruce.
Okay.
Because the Abomination had a big fight with Bruce Banner in the Incredible Hulk movie where Edward Norton played Bruce Banner, and there's a pretty good line where she rings up Mark Ruffalo's Hulk to say, you know, is it okay if I take on this case? I know that you've had a fight with him, and Mark Ruffalo's character says, oh, it's fine, I've moved on a lot since then, I'm a completely different person now, literally.
Yeah.
And it's a funny show, and it's got fourth wall breaking stuff. She turns and talks to the camera every now and again, in a sort of Deadpool way, but not as irritating as Deadpool. And based on the 2 episodes I've watched so far, I really, really like it. I really like the character of She-Hulk anyway. I like the fact that she breaks the fourth wall. I think it's interesting that she's a lawyer, and she retains her kind of personality when she turns into the Hulk. And it's cool. It's funny. It's a good, funny, interesting show. I think people should check it out if they're into the MCU. I mean, if you're into the MCU, you're probably checking it out anyway. But yeah, She-Hulk's good. And finally, House of the Dragon. 2 episodes of that have been out. The new Game of Thrones prequel. Game of Thrones completely soured everyone by its final season, which was pretty bad.
Not me. I was not soured.
Because you never watched it. It felt like overall the appetite for Game of Thrones had really ebbed, and it was a bit like in the run-up to House of the Dragon starting, it kind of felt like, why have they done this? I don't know if people want House of the Dragon, but the first episode had some ridiculous, 50 million viewers or something in America, so it seems like people do want more Game of Thrones stuff. This one is set about 170 years or something before the events of the original series, and follows Westeros as it is in the height of its reign by the Targaryens, who are a family of dragon-riding, blonde-haired, incestuous lunatics, basically, and kind of is going to follow a similar thematic structure to the original series, but with different characters, wherein people are fighting over who gets to be king or queen of the country, etc. But it has a pretty great cast. It's got people like Rhys Ifans as the Hand of the King. Rhys Ifans, people will know from films like Notting Hill and The Amazing Spider-Man, where he played the Lizard, Kurt Connors. You've got, as the current king, Viserys, I think his name is, you've got Paddy Considine, who's one of my favourite sort of actors.
Oh, wow.
I really, really love Paddy Considine, and he's really good so far in it.
Amazing.
As the king's younger brother, Daemon, you've got Matt Smith, who is in full-on evil bad guy mode here, and does a very good bad guy and is very entertaining in this. Not yet appearing in the series because I think there's going to be a bit of a time jump and they're going to play an older version of a character. But Olivia Cook is also in the series as Alicent Hightower. And you've also got the young Princess Rhaenyra, I think she's called, Targaryen, who at this point in the series is played by actress Millie Alcock, but will be played by Emma Darcy later when there's some sort of a time jump. Which is almost a pity because the standout star so far is Millie Alcock as this young Princess Rhaenyra. She's incredible. She's so good in it. I wasn't excited or interested at all in a new Game of Thrones series, and then I sat down and watched episode 1 and was hooked from the first moment. I really like it so far. The first episode's so good, and the second episode has kept up the pace for me. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed going back to that world and seeing things, and the fact that next week the new Lord of the Rings show starts on Amazon, and fans of fantasy stuff like me are just going to be eating well for a good few weeks.
But is it written by the same guy that wrote Game of Thrones, or is this just a total?
No, this is
new
based
spin-off?
on a prequel novel that George R.R. Martin did a couple of years ago, tracing the history of the Targaryen house.
Okay.
And I think George R.R. Martin has almost got a closer involvement in this show than he did with the original Game of Thrones. That's my understanding. I might be wrong, but he's definitely involved and approving of it. And it's based on his work still, so there'll definitely be changes. But yeah.
But why did they Game of Thrones was so successful?
Yeah.
Why did they? Why do you think, or if you've read, why was the last season so bad? Because it seems to they've sped it up to finish it. But if it's something so successful, why didn't they don't just do another couple of seasons? Because
at a certain point, when a show is as successful as Game of Thrones and as expensive as Game of Thrones, the actors start to be, well, I've done this for this number of years now. They start to want to redo their contracts and get paid more money, and the price will start to skyrocket. And younger actors start to want to go off and do other work. And there's a sort of a shelf life to how long you can keep something like that going. And I think the creators wanted to step away and do other things as well, and which has not worked out. What did they want to do? They wanted to make a show where the Civil War in America had never ended. And there was still slavery and stuff, and people were like, no, we don't want that at all. It got cancelled. It got announced and then cancelled before they even started to make it, kind of thing.
Wow.
So they've not had and they were going to do a bunch of Star Wars movies, and they've all been cancelled. Anyway, but yeah, it just sort of and then, they really sped up the storytelling in a big bad way in the final season. And a couple of characters made villainous turns that didn't feel fully earned to a lot of people. And it was just sort of a bit messy. Maybe this will go the same way, but to start off with, it's done a pretty good job. I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon, so yeah.
It's such a shame that such incredible. Well, I've never watched it. I have no interest in stuff like this, but it could they never seem to finish the right way. Why not just go on a little journey, do an incredible series from start to finish, and do that rather than just prolong it because of money reasons, and then suddenly nobody's interested anymore, and you just make crap.
I can see a point. I guess it comes down to kind of remembering that it's not necessarily about the destination, that the journey is important, and the fact that season 8 of Game of Thrones isn't perfect takes nothing away from the fact that seasons 1 through 4 or 5 are just countless hours of perfect TV, and there's no reason not to go back and watch those. They're fantastic, and the final season isn't perfect, but I think probably if you watched it now and went into it knowing that people weren't that keen on it, you'd probably be a bit more forgiving of some of the mistakes it makes. And maybe we're all a little bit too harsh on it. Maybe it was ultimately okay. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I've only got positive things to say really about this new one. It's not as humorless. It's not as humorous as Game of Thrones could be at times. Game of Thrones had occasional levity in it. You had, in particular, you had Peter Dinklage's character, Tyrion Lannister. They described him in the show as a dwarf. So the dwarf Tyrion Lannister was really, really funny and witty, and there's no one that brings any humour to the table yet in House of the Dragon. It's all quite serious. But I don't know, I'm enjoying it. And that's my culture catch-up.
Awesome.
Done.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Love it.
Do you want a little bit of MyTube?
Yeah, of course.
I've got a couple of movie trailers to show you, and maybe a music video as well, if you want.
Oh, lovely.
This first one is odd. I don't quite know what to make of it, but I think you'll find it interesting, so we should have a look at it. I'll pop it in the chat, the chatola.
The Chattola.
The Chattanooga Choo-Choo, there you go.
Oh, thank you. So George just sent me... Netflix is busy at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
A Netflix film, White Noise.
White Noise indeed.
Yeah,
all right.
I am ready.
3, 2, 1, go. So we've got a car jam.
Oh, car.
Scared in the Crown Victoria.
Yeah, they're laughing.
These guys aren't laughing.
Where?
In the country square.
What does it matter what they're doing in other
Oh,
cars?
Adam Driver.
Bit of Adam Driver.
I'm happy already. So it's raining. They're in a car jam. A traffic jam. And everybody is in a traffic jam. Oh. It looks a little bit
Life is good, Jack.
weird.
As long as the children
Oh,
are
Greta
here,
is in front of the screen.
Yeah,
Greta
Greta
Gerwig.
Gerwig, yeah.
Amazing. Is that Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle, yeah.
Is in
Do
it?
not advance the action according to a plan.
Oh, this looks amazing.
Yeah. Written and directed by Noah Baumbach, who is Greta Gerwig's partner.
Wow, that looks really good. That looks like something that is kind of, probably like a little creepy and a reflection on society, and it looks good. And it's nice to see Greta Gerwig on the other side of the screen again.
Yeah. Definitely.
And Adam Driver. I nearly watched House of Gucci the other day because I love Adam Driver so much. I was like, maybe no.
Don't watch House of Gucci, but maybe watch this. This is based on a novel that I've never read. That's apparently a classic novel, but I hadn't actually heard of it until this movie was coming out. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the description of the novel says White Noise tells the story of Jack Gladney, his fourth wife Babette, and 4 ultra-modern offspring as they navigate the rocky passages of family life to the background babble of brand name consumerism. So it definitely sounds like it's got ideas and themes in excess.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I
Right.
like it. Yes.
One more trailer for you. A very different tone here, but I think this movie looks incredible. So let me know what you think. Let's just have a look.
The next trailer Georgia sent me is The Banshees of... Huh?
The Banshees
Okay. The Banshees of Inisherin.
of Inisherin, yeah.
Oh my god. Can I try again?
Go on.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
The Banshees
Oh my
of
god, there's so
Inisherin.
many vowels. The Banshees of Inisherin. The Banshees of Inisherin.
That's the title.
The Banshees are like those... Are they those like crazy ladies? They were called the Banshees.
Yeah, the Banshees would... was it the Banshees that would shout and yell and try to attract ships and get them caught in rocks and stuff? I believe the scream
Were they good
of the
people or
Banshee,
bad
the cry of the
people?
Banshee. They were bad people. They were trying to attract. This is the latest movie from director Martin McDonagh, who is well known for films such as 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and
yes.
In Bruges. So, are you ready?
Exciting.
Yes, very exciting. You ready to have a look?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. I guess it's going to be in Ireland, yeah.
Oh,
Because...
definitely.
He used to be the best of friends.
Oh, what's his name?
No, you're not.
Brendan Gleeson, Colin Farrell.
Yeah. Is it going to be a comedy?
Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done.
Well, you didn't do anything to me. I just don't like you,
Aww.
You liked me yesterday.
Aww.
Why does he not want to be friends with you no more? Why is he 12?
What the hell's going on with you, me feckin' brother?
He's dull, Siobhan.
But he's always been dull.
Oh, poor
Like
Colin
2
Farrell,
months
he's
since
dull.
been talking to me about the things you found in your little donkey shite that day.
Well, it wasn't me little donkey's shite, it was me pony's shite, which shows how much you were listening.
Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. It just
Right?
looks like the weirdest.
And if you don't stop bothering me, I have a set of
He just
shears.
doesn't want to be
And each
friends
time
with
you
Colin
bother me
Farrell.
from this day on, I'll take those shears and I'll take one of my fingers off with them and I'll give that finger to you until I have no fingers left. Does this make things clearer to you?
Not really, no.
Starting from now. But shush like, Polly. You know, shush like.
Yeah, I'd shush like. Would you not want him to have to do the one finger to see if he was bluffing, like?
No, he wouldn't.
Because worse comes to worse, he can still play the fiddle with 4 fingers, I bet ya.
Going back to your own gang now, Polly.
I'm talking to me! Are you?
Oh my god, is he gonna cut his finger?
Why aren't you talking to Polly no more?
This looks amazing. I'm sorry I'm not saying anything, but it looks so good. I don't want to miss anything.
You know who we remember for how nice they was in the 17th century? Who? Absolutely no one. Yeah, we all remember the music at the time. Everyone to a man knows Mozart's name.
I don't, so there goes that theory.
Can't be waiting around for any more of this madness.
Let's just call it quits.
We won't call it quits. We'll call it the start.
How weird. He looks like Wes Anderson on steroids.
Yeah,
in a weird way. Like a really, probably it's going to be quite deep, but like the actual what the issue is between the guys, the two men, is not, seems really stupid, but it's probably going to be like a really funny but deep film. Oh, I really want to watch that.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
I'll
film.
definitely have to watch with subtitles though.
Oh, they're only speaking in Irish accents.
Yeah, and really fast. I watch everything with subtitles. You know that.
No,
everything I watch is with subtitles. But this is definitely a subtitle job.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
When
that
is it coming out?
I don't know. Let me see if there's any sort of news about the release date.
So good.
Says here,
and Brendan Gleeson doesn't seem to be getting any older. It's just always the same. He's always looked like that, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's just amazing. 21st of October looks like.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah, 21st of October. So hopefully within a couple of months, we can talk about it. Maybe even do a special about it if it merits it.
Ooh,
it does look pretty good. Okay, now last one.
Yeah.
This is at midnight last night with no fanfare at all. The Arctic Monkeys put their first new single in 4 years up on YouTube. So I'm interested to know, as like a non-Arctic Monkeys obsessive, unlike me, I'm interested to know what you make of their new sound.
What do you think of a new sound? Do you want me to listen to it first?
I want you to listen to it first, and then we can have a discussion.
Okay, so Arctic Monkeys, there better be a mirror ball.
There'd better be a mirror ball. The first... Oh, go on.
But the Arctic Monkeys, tell me a famous song so I can remember their old sound.
I bet that you look good on the dance floor. Don't know what you're looking for, man, so don't know what you're looking for.
Yes, okay, I remember now.
Okay, so that was the big hit that they started with way back in 2006 or something. They're now up to their, what will this be? Whatever people say I am, favourite worst nightmare.
17th studio album.
I think this is their 7th studio album.
7th, that was
7th studio album. The Car, scheduled for release on the 21st of October. Also the same day that the new Taylor Swift album is scheduled for release, so big day for George. They announced it very suddenly last week. They played 2 big UK headline shows in Leeds and Reading Festival this weekend, where they was their big return to the UK after a few years of not playing here. And they played 1 new song off their album at those shows, but not this song. They played a song called I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am. Mm-hmm. But they've decided to make the opening track of the album. This is the opening track of their album, The Car, the first single. So let's have a listen. You ready?
Okay, yes.
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, it already look like there's a mirror ball. They're in a mirror ball.
They're inside a mirror ball, potentially.
Inside a mirror ball.
We've got some sort of...
Oh, they've gone a little bit 70s in their kind of... 60s?
60s, 70s, and piano 60s, as well going on.
Yeah. Definitely different from I Bet You Would Look Good on the Dance Floor.
Yeah, very much so. This music video directed by Alex Turner, the lead singer, who you can see there.
Okay.
Don't get emotional, that ain't like you. Yesterday's still leaking through the room.
It's very mellow.
Yeah.
But that's nothing new. I know I promised this is what I wouldn't do, but somehow giving it the old romantic fool.
It reminds me a lot of like probably some kind of
Seems to better suit
80s kind of glam, rocky, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of stuff that you listen a little bit, just kind of like lots of pauses between the lyrics.
Yeah, very sort of croonery.
Yeah.
Their last album was, I think, 2018. Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, that album was called. And that was the first album where he'd ever written music on piano first rather than guitar. And that album sounded a bit like this, so it seems like they've sort of continued to push down this musical road, which I think to a lot of their fan base is one that they'd prefer them not to. Because people want them to continue to be, you know, I bet that you look good on the dance floor. And then they keep coming out with these, like, very conceptual, mellow mood pieces almost. It's strange. It's a strange path that they've decided to explore.
I feel that maybe this song in the album would have a bit more of a effect. I think by itself like this is just, for me, really like bland. Like it's okay, you're just like, you're doing your thing, but I think probably it will make more sense in the album.
Yeah, because it feels like an
I'm not really like a fan anymore of singles, like, because I feel like they kind of ruin a little bit maybe the song.
Yeah, and it's interesting because for Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, which again sounded like this, if I remember rightly, they didn't put out a single for it, they just let the album come out and be the album, but they've decided for some reason this time to put this out. Which I like it, because I really liked the last album.
But I think it would be better in the album.
Yeah, it just makes me really want to be like, well, what else are you doing on this album? Like, where's this sound going to go across the piece of work that you've done?
Yeah.
Unlike that single that the Red Hot Chili Peppers put out a couple of weeks, which is just a massive banger.
Yeah. Yeah, so this feels a little bit too uneventful. Like I know I won't remember how the melody goes as soon as this video finishes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Not bad though. I like that. I like where they're going.
I think it's well done.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's well produced and well written music. It's just, it feels like it's meant to be. I feel like maybe they've put it out to be like, here's what we're doing. Here, so you know this is where we're going. But it's not been put out to be like a big radio hit.
We don't want to go to that.
No, go back to the dance floor.
Oh.
So yeah, interesting stuff there from the Monkeys, the Arctic Monkeys. And they're not called the Arctic Monkeys, actually. They're just called Arctic Monkeys. I should stop doing that.
What are they called?
Arctic Monkeys.
They're not called the Arctic Monkeys. No. But sometimes you need to put an article in front of things.
Yeah.
Don't you? So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
The tree. I can see a tree.
I can see the tree. The what? In 100 years or so, people will be like, there's the tree.
Yes.
We've only got one left.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
There it is. There's the tree.
There it is.
There's the
tree.
flower. There's the vegetable.
And we're like all under this glass.
Now go home and eat your pellets. Right. We're not talking about homework this week because it's not a top 5 episode.
No.
But very quickly, when we do homework again, I'll be talking about Not Okay, and having watched it, I'd recommend that people go and watch that movie before we discuss it because it's definitely worth people's time. But we'll talk about
isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. But we'll talk about more in the future. But good film. Good film.
We can talk about it now if you want.
No, all I really want to say is, do you agree that the character played by Mia Isaac, or the actress, so there's a character called Rowan, played by actress Mia Isaac, who I've not really seen anything before, steals the movie?
Oh, 100%. That's what I said. She's incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, she's so good. The monologue she gives near the end of the film was... should win awards. She should win awards for that performance. But yeah, no, we'll talk about it more next time. For now, let's start our discussion of Jack White.
Yeah, school me. Tell me everything about Jack White.
Okay.
Just because I'm pretty ignorant. I've stayed at the White Stripes until these 2 albums, so...
fair enough. Well, Jack White is a musician, best known as the lead singer and guitarist in the White Stripes, who were a garage rock band popular in the sort of early 2000s. Every single person on the planet knows the song Seven Nation Army, or as it's been changed in the UK, the Jeremy Corbyn chant. And he is sort of a virtuoso guitarist. He's known for his pretty stunning guitar skills. And for good reason. The White Stripes released... how many studio albums did the White Stripes put out? They put out... about 6 studio albums. It was their 4th album, Elephant, in 2003, that really kind of put them on the map, as it had a few huge songs on it, including Seven Nation Army. Always somebody who likes experimenting. Right after that massive album, he then came out with Get Behind Me, Satan, the White Stripes' 5th album, which is produced almost entirely piano, features very little guitar, which was a shock for, he's known for his incredible guitar playing. And their final album, 2007's Icky Thump, is as strong as any of the rest of the work they've done. They're on top of the world, and they just suddenly decided to call it quits. I believe because of Meg White, who was the drummer, quite extreme stage fright or nervousness around performing live and things, and they just decided it was time to call it a day, which is sad in a way because they were so good. But if that's how she felt about performing and stuff, then that's probably the best choice for her. But Jack White loves performing, so has continued to perform in various side projects. There's the Raconteurs, there's the Dead Weather, and then there is his solo career. He released his first solo album in 2012, which is Blunderbuss, which features some great tracks, including 16 Saltines. He then continued with Lazaretto in 2014, which was quite a similar collection of songs to his first album, just good guitar-heavy rock songs. He then came out in 2018. If you haven't listened to this, I'd really recommend it, with Boarding House Reach, his 3rd solo album, which is where he went really experimental, really strange. There's all sorts of different sounds on that album, and it's wonderful. And then he went quiet for 4 years before finally coming back this year in 2022 with a lovely blue haircut and 2 new studio albums, Fear of the Dawn and Entering Heaven Alive. Fear of the Dawn being a bit of a continuation of the experimental stuff he was doing on Boarding House Reach, and Entering Heaven Alive being, in his words, I think, something of a folk album. And you listened to the first one, Fear of the Dawn, quite a bit and suggested doing a special, and we decided to wait until the second one was out so that we could sort of talk about both and discuss our feelings on both of them and go from there. So what's been your kind of knowledge of Jack White over the years?
Oh, well, just the White Stripes, listening to them. But then after the White Stripes, I really did not listen to anything until these 2 albums.
To get an idea of how good he is, did you see any of him at Glastonbury?
No.
Shall we just watch a little bit of him doing Seven Nation Army? at Glastonbury, just to see how beloved that song is and how good he is as a performer, because you really get the sense of how incredible he is, like, you know, on guitar and stuff. And it's an interesting thing with Jack White, because a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know, really don't like him. He's a real Marmite sort of character.
Oh.
I know a lot of people that really just don't like the White Stripes music at all, don't like him, find him irritating.
Well, because he's talented, that's why.
Yeah, they're jealous of him. Just jealous. And I don't know, he's a very sort of... I think he has a reputation at times for being prickly. I think you can really sense that he is obsessed with just being an amazing musician, and he loves music. He owns his own vinyl record pressing plant. And, you know, there's all sorts of mad stories about him. When the White Stripes were first together, they kind of blurred the line between, were they brother and sister, were they husband and wife? I think it turned out they were husband and wife, but they broke up before the White Stripes was a thing, or something. Years before he was a successful musician, he worked as an upholsterer in Detroit, and there are stories of him hiding pressings of early demos he'd done on vinyl inside couches and other furniture. So if you live in the Detroit area, feel free to tear your furniture apart, because I can imagine the value of anything you might find inside would be far above the value of the furniture at this point. But yeah, he's an odd, interesting figure, and you know, that definitely creates kind of a Marmite effect around him. So let's just have a watch of this. Did you get the link?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready to go? Okay.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, I love his blue hair, and he's like 46.
Yeah.
He's amazingly. He looks so.
Well, I don't think he ever goes outside, so his skin never gets aged by the sun. He's so pale.
He never goes outside.
Well, look how pale he is. He's like the palest man in the world, which is fine.
Oh, nice. Oh, but of course in Glastonbury everybody's going to love it. Oh, everybody's just like incredibly happy to hear that song.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the best songs ever written.
But I just love he doesn't
even the videos they did, they were incredible, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they did good videos. He doesn't perform it like it is on the record. He gives it little touches and different, you know, readings on the lyrics and stuff.
Apparently, he doesn't do a set before a concert, like before a gig. There's no set. He just plays, and like people have to kind of follow him.
I could believe that. Yeah. Yeah, I saw him live in, I think when would it have been? 18 or 19? It was such a good concert. It was stunning. Yeah. And he was doing a thing where, and again, people really didn't like this, but it made for a great concert where when you went in, you had to put your phone in a bag that's sealed up and what couldn't be unsealed until the end of the gig. I love
that.
So I watched the whole gig and realised at the end I hadn't had my view blocked once by somebody putting their phone up.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was like, yes, this is great. And I've never been to another gig that's done that, and I wish more people would take it up.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. So he knows that people know his song and they love his music.
Yeah.
Incredible. I wish I was there. I don't know, I had the kind of like, I really would love to go back to Glastonbury this year. I was just like, it's an amazing place. It's nothing like you're ever going to experience. And everybody's going to have a different experience in Glastonbury because it's so huge. And, but the only fear that I have is because I've been in a really rainy time, in a really like sunny time, and the rain is just unforgivable in Glastonbury. It's amazing. Whoa.
Just doing a little bit of a breakdown, solo.
Yeah.
Exploring the stage.
He clearly loves music, though. Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate him because he loves music. Wow, he's also directing.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. See, like, the audience is part of the song. It's beautiful. I love it.
I think the only thing at Glastonbury that I wouldn't be able to bear is the flags.
Why?
Because they block the view of the stage. Get rid of them. I hate them. I hate flags at festivals.
They're so long, though.
No,
like...
they still block the view. If you're far back enough. It's just
that's true.
Stupid. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to afford it either. So
well, yeah,
expensive.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I'd have to quit my job to go to Glastonbury, and then I wouldn't be able to afford it. So
no,
real catch-22 kind of a situation.
Awesome. That's really good.
What's he doing? It's crazy. Look at him. He's rubbing his guitar all over the microphone stand. He's going absolutely ham.
There's a great energy on stage, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's enjoying that.
I love his weird electric pants as well.
Yeah. Was this the end of his set?
It must have been, yeah. I guess if you got that in your pocket, you wait until the end to pull it out.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a pity on his tour. He did sort of a world tour recently, but he only came to London in the UK, so I didn't get to go and see him. Which, if he comes to Manchester again, I'll definitely be.
I love the English crowd that they manage to go for anything. It's like a football chant.
Yeah, it's a proper football chant.
He loves it. He knows he's good.
Yeah. All right. So that's Jack White.
Awesome.
If you haven't listened to any of his, go on.
Great musician.
Great musician. If you haven't listened to any of his solo stuff before, what made you check out Further Dawn?
Well, you told me to listen to it.
There we go. Fair enough.
You said, Alex, you should check out this album, and I did.
And what did you expect going in? And then what did you get? Nothing.
I did not expect anything going in because I like I said, I knew it was going to be the White Stripes because I think they were just so unique and I wasn't expecting anything of that. But I didn't expect to enjoy it so much and to have a really kind of fun time listening to it. And I really enjoy this album.
It's interesting, Alex, that you say a fun time listening to it, because do you not think it's possible to have too much fun?
Why do you say that, George?
Well, I will just read you some of this review of the song Heidi Ho.
Yeah.
From Further Dawn.
Which is a very fun song.
It is a fun song, and that's a bad thing. I'll read you this review from our favourite website, Pitchfork.
Love
it. So it's Heidi Ho featuring Q-Tip. Incredible.
Yep.
The subheading of the review is "You Can't Say He Didn't Try," and it opens like this: Jack White is bored, and who could blame him? He's beaten every level of real-life Guitar Hero, unlocked every character, and he seems to be on a quest to relieve an omnipresent boredom. Sometimes that means collaborating with Beyonce, amazing song.
Amazing song.
Yep. Or working with a reunited Tribe Called Quest. Why wouldn't you? Sometimes it means generating a minute's worth of wet fart sounds with his guitar before launching into a Cab Calloway sample on a song featuring Q-Tip. It's a stretch to call whatever is happening on this single from his forthcoming album Further Dawn, Heidi Ho, a collaboration. More like two superstars effing around for their amusement. For what it's worth, the two of them are clearly having a ball, Q-Tip sounds exuberant on his verse, name-checking Chuck Berry, Mariah Carey and Stevie Wonder's Confusion. How is that a bad thing?
This guy sounds so bitter.
Before White crashes back in, singing about finding your joy and your vibrations. Why? There's no why to anything on Heidi Ho, just a lot of why not. It might be a joke, or it might not. It's certainly not at all good. But at no point during its chaotic, pointless 4 minutes does Jack White sound remotely bored. I guess they want him to sound bored, is the takeaway we get from this?
Well, it's somebody that is bitter about Jack White. He does not seem to like him. He just called him a character. He called him a guitar hero guy. Like from the start, this guy does not like Jack White, and
yeah, but also it's weird because it opens by saying Jack White is bored, right? And then the last line is, it's certainly not at all good, but at no point during its chaotic, pointless 4 minutes does Jack White sound remotely bored. So is he bored or is he not bored?
I don't know.
When he's bored, it's good, and when he's not bored, it's bad. I don't know. Anyway, too much fun on that song, I reckon.
Too much fun.
Way too much fun. Ridiculous to have that much fun when you're making music. Music should be very stoic and dull.
Serious.
Clearly serious times.
Should be highbrow, serious, conceptual music. You cannot have fun, especially if you are Jack White.
Exactly. Ridiculous.
I've heard too many people recently that are telling like artists that I really enjoy that are sellouts and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's like, go away.
Yeah, but also it's not selling out to collaborate with Q-Tip. That's a great thing to do. Anyway. So.
But also what is your if an artist did the same thing over and over and over again, that would become boring.
Absolutely.
So you need an artist that can like surprise you in many ways. And I think I really like this album because it really surprised me because it's so far removed from anything I knew about him and it's extremely entertaining. It's a very good driving album. It's got some really amazing songs, in my opinion. And the fact that he managed to release this album and then release another album in a few months, which then the second album, which is called Entering Heaven Alive, is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And you just have to appreciate how this artist is working and how amazing he is.
Yeah, because it was very easy to imagine that the second one would be a bit of a tossed off nothing, but it's a full production. It's an album. It's, he's put as much effort into it as the first one, I think. It's interesting because I listened to Fear of the Dawn and wasn't disappointed, but was sort of not as grabbed by it as I was by, say, Boarding House Reach. Because I think I think having listened to Boarding House Reach quite a bit, the experiments on this album sound a little bit less interesting and exciting than Boarding House Reach, I think. I really liked Boarding House Reach a lot, and this album didn't quite live up to that for me. But listening to it more and more and more and putting aside, feelings about past albums and stuff, I do really like it, and there's a couple of really standout tracks. Heidi Ho, particularly with Q-Tip, if we have a little listen to a moment of that one.
Heidi Ho is a really fun track.
Song.
There's too much fun, though.
It's not good.
There's too much fun. I just love how it starts. It's just like...
Yeah. Just like this, and then it sort of noodles about for about a minute or so, but it does eventually coalesce into something, and Q-Tip comes in, and then it sort of turns into a Jack White song at the end. I like it. It's a good track. Yeah. Are there any other standout tracks on that album for you?
I really like the first track, Taking Me Back. I think is a good start of the album. I like how it starts here. There's just kind of like. I think it just starts the album really well with some kind of like high energy.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And another track that I really like, Heidi Ho, of course, Into the Twilight.
Oh, Into the Twilight's good.
Yeah, I just love the fact that he's just gone a little bit.
It's got that very kind of earwormy melody to it.
Yeah. Twilight. I like how he makes his voice sound like it's also an instrument.
Yeah, he's not afraid to manipulate his vocals, which is something I think the big difference in his solo stuff now to the White Stripes is that the White Stripes was very much about we've got a guitar, we've got a drum kit, sometimes we've got a piano, what noises can we make with those?
Yeah.
Whereas now he seems really happy to just bring in any production flourishes he can in the studio. Anything that interests him, he'll try it out and mess around with it, and it just creates, I guess, what you would describe as very experimental music. But he manages to always keep it listenable and fun, and which, as we know, is a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. But also another song that I think is really good is What's the Trick? Because it's kind of like, it becomes more like a spoken beaty kind of.
Yeah, good tune.
Because I feel like this album is totally him.
Yeah.
What I like about this album is just you can't really compare him to any other things. This is like totally Jack White.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's comparable to any other artist that I've listened to, or I don't know. And so that's why I quite enjoyed this album, because it's eclectic and it's definitely all him, not being scared to try things.
Yeah. What do you think about the song? I think my favourite song on the album is Eosophobia. Eosophobia.
Ah,
goes like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that sort of like do 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 do.
And then his voice goes with the sound.
When does he come in?
The sun goes down. I don't feel you. I feel a different hammer.
And
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. And I think as an album it's like I said before, it's so entertaining and so kind of keeps you on your toes what's going to happen next. It's not really anything. It's not one note at all.
No,
it's just
no.
really exciting album for me.
And then he announced that this album was coming out and it was going to be a sort of rocky, experimental jam album. And then he said a month or so later, Entering Heaven Alive is coming out and it is my folk album. It's much more stripped back, etc. And that made me not listen to it for ages because I wasn't really... I was always like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for that kind of a thing. And then finally I got round to it because I was like, we're recording this episode, I have to listen to it. And not to put the cart before the horse, I think I like it more than Fear of the Dawn.
Good.
What do you think of Entering Heaven Alive?
It's good. It's definitely good. I think, I don't know if but I feel like it's more of an homage to lots of different artists and genres of music.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I can, like the first song, A Tip from You to Me.
Ask yourself if you are happy,
Just,
and then you cease to be. That's a tip from you.
I just, if you think about David Bowie,
Yeah.
you kind of can imagine
That big
this.
piano
And then
sound.
yeah, and then there's like some, yeah, it feels like an homage to different artists and different genres. It took me longer to get into this album because I think at the moment I need the I don't know why.
But I was
Something
expecting this second album to be like him and a guitar and nothing else.
Yeah.
Which is totally like immediately on that, you've got that huge piano coming in straight away.
Yeah.
And the melodies he's coming up with in the second album are like butter. They're so they just go down so easily.
Yeah.
And then as well, I was expecting it to not have any of those kind of interesting production flourishes. But my favourite track on the second album is I've Got You Surrounded with My Love, which is like got a lot of odd noises going on in it. If you have a little listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. That fuzzy guitar's coming in. It's very Jack White. That melody.
Yeah.
He's singing and then he's got that really distorted vocal in the background. I love the effect of that. Yeah.
It's definitely more mellow and more like
Yeah. But it's still.
But when you said folky, like it just for me is like it doesn't seem very folky. It seems more like bluesy and and If I Die Tomorrow is a really great track.
Yeah, I really like that song. Where's that?
In this album. But I have to say, the more I listen to it, the more I like it.
I think it's more of a grower of an album.
Yeah.
It's not as immediate as Fear of the Dawn.
Yeah.
But it does work as one big album with Fear of the Dawn because it closes with a really gorgeous...
That blew my mind. I was so happy. Like, Taking Me Back is the first song of...
Fear of the Dawn.
Fear of the Dawn. And then it's the last song of Entering Heaven Alive.
But
this time it's like a gypsy violin incredibleness.
Foot stomping, yeah.
And I like it more, I think. I don't know. Because it works so well.
Oh yeah, completely.
He back to it. And also his voice is so different from the two different songs. It's just...
Yes, you're taking me back.
I love this bit. Dun, dun. These two songs are amazing.
They really are. And yeah, the way they bookend the full experience. He's not just come up with two albums worth of music and split it in two. He's really thought carefully about the ordering, the way it all fits together. It's great. It's so good. The only downside is the cover art to Fear of the Dawn is the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's not that bad.
It looks like bad Flash animation from like 2004. I really like the cover art to Entering Heaven Alive. I really like. I think the lady in that cover really looks like... Let me look at that cover again. Like, I can't find information anywhere about where this photograph is from, but that looks like Jessica Chastain to me.
Oh.
Can you see that?
I am. Yeah, the nose, I think the eyes are not. But it could be, yeah.
It probably isn't, because it'd probably say in places if it was someone famous like that.
Yeah. Interesting cover art though, because it doesn't really reflect the album, either cover art.
No, and also it's I think it's the first of his studio albums not to feature a photograph of him on the cover, unless
that's him.
That's him.
Yeah, that's definitely him.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
You think that's a picture of Jack White?
Yeah.
Looks like Jessica.
Well, no. Like in Fear of the Dawn, that's Jack White.
Oh yeah. In Fear of the Dawn,
and in the other one,
it's Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it is Jack White.
I don't know.
No, that's definitely a.
Have a quick look at the cover art for Boarding House Reach, because I couldn't believe for a while that was Jack White on the cover of that.
Boarding House Reach. Oh, so it might be Jack White.
Yeah.
In
with a lot of sort of makeup on or something.
Yeah. I guess it could be. Interesting. So, of the two albums, which one do you prefer?
I think at the moment I prefer the second one, Entering Heaven Alive. What do you prefer?
I think I'm still in the Fear of the Dawn kind of era. I do like them both. I think it's a great to have such range of, you know, music, like how playing all your musical instruments and voice and production is incredible. They're both incredible albums because but yeah, I think I'm still more into Fear of the Dawn.
That's fair. You should definitely go away and have a listen to Boarding House Reach and see what your vibe is with it, because it's very good. I've not done a top 5, but I have done a list of the songs from both albums that I like. So my favourite tracks overall are I've Got You Surrounded With My Love from Entering Heaven Alive, Heidi Ho from Fear of the Dawn, Eosophobia from Fear of the Dawn, If I Die Tomorrow from Entering Heaven Alive, and A Tip From You To Me, the opening track of Entering Heaven Alive.
Yeah.
They're the 5 songs that sort of stand out to me. Have you got any standouts we haven't mentioned or that you want to kind of sum up?
Taking Me Back in the first album, and the second from Fear of the Dawn and Entering Heaven Alive. And Please God Don't Tell Anyone from Entering
Should we have a little
Heaven Alive.
Listen to that one?
Yeah. And then the other ones that I mentioned before.
Please God, don't tell anyone what I do or what I have done.
This sounds almost Dylan-esque at the start.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Beautiful stuff. Good shout.
Beautiful.
I like
Beautiful. Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna give a rating to each album. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So, Fear of the Dawn, I'm giving a 3.5 out of 5 to Fear of the Dawn.
Okay.
And Entering Heaven Alive, I'm giving a 4 out of 5 to.
Okay.
And I think Boarding House Reach, for reference's sake, would probably be a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you going with? What do you think?
Fear of the Dawn, probably a 4.5 out of 5. But then I might listen to the other one that you mentioned, Boarding House Reach, see if that's knocks it down. And then Entering Heaven Alive, probably a 4 points.
Good. Strong music.
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely stuff. That's been our Jack White special. I hope you've had a good time with it. Right, Alex, do you have any recommendations for people this week?
This week I would recommend to listen to the new Lizzo album, Special. Give it some time, give it some thought. Let us know what you think of it. And also, if you like light and fluffy stuff, watch Never Have I Ever.
Lovely.
There are 3 seasons. Number 1, 2, and 3 you can watch in 3 days. Done.
From you.
Yes.
Good stuff. I'm going to put a big recommendation out there for my favourite movie of the summer, Prey. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. And also The Rehearsal, the latest masterpiece from Nathan Fielder. If you think you can stomach some secondhand embarrassment, cringe, I definitely would recommend going to check that out. So that's Prey and The Rehearsal. And also watch House of the Dragon and She-Hulk and stuff, but they're some of the most talked about shows going, so they don't need recommendations. But yeah, The Rehearsal and Prey. Please go and look at those. All right. Next time on Culture Bucket, we're really excited to be doing a full special on Better Call Saul, which wrapped up over the summer. So the whole thing is out now. I think pretty much, quite probably, unless anything changes in the future, all of the universe of Breaking Bad is now as fleshed out as it's ever going to be. With all of Breaking Bad, the El Camino movie, and Better Call Saul now having finished as well. Which is sad in a way, because it's been a beautiful, wonderful world to get transported to every now and again. Beautiful and wonderful in terms of how well it's produced and made, not beautiful and wonderful in terms of the events and characters that live in there. But yeah, we've finally said goodbye to Saul Goodman, Jimmy McGill, Gene Tukevsky, and Kim Wexler, which is a sad thing. Not necessarily sad because of what happens to Kim, but sad because I just want to see Kim. Yeah. Want to see more of Kim. Always. Yeah. So yeah.
Be interesting. Actually, it'd be quite interesting to know where Kim Wexler comes from.
Yeah, there's one episode where you see her having shoplifted.
Yeah.
And
I think that would be a nice.
To expand on that a bit would be interesting, but how many times can they do that? They span Saul Goodman off Breaking Bad, and then if they spun Kim off of I don't know, Rhea Seehorn, whatever she does, deserves more work. So I hope that she gets all the awards and stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about this in much more detail next week. So that's our Better Call Saul special. We'll talk about our feelings generally, and then go through the final season a little bit and talk about that. A final season that really, really did come in 2 parts, in quite a big way. So and some of those mad cameos that popped up in that final episode will cover those.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not expecting.
One of them I didn't recognize, and then I was just like, oh my god, it's her.
Yeah. That was crazy. I was not expecting her to pop up at all. No. But it makes sense that she does. So yeah, that's next time. Join us in a couple of weeks for that, and have a lovely time. It's been great to be with you again for a bit, and see you soon. Love you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.